Something I try to encourage strongly in my classes is that the students collaborate together on learning the material. So as much as I spend time structuring the classroom hour that we have together, I also try to spend time actively programming the hours of the rest of the week in terms of how students can work together. The most obvious example that a lot of us use is in-person problem-solving sessions or tutorial sessions or recitation sections or TA office hours, however you want to think of it. And I ask the TAs in my classes to all staff at least 1 or 2 hours of the week, and I ask them to work together to make a calendar of when will those hours be available throughout the week. In that way, I try to have office hours or tutorial hours or tutoring hours at a variety of times when students can just drop in and get help. When things are going well, I see that the students who start to work together in the classroom start coming in together in these office hours as a group because they are now in a pattern of working together. Or I see students who are in the mentoring group assigned to one of the undergraduate TAs comes to that undergraduate TA's office hour because they're looking to continue that relationship or that bond with that particular undergraduate TA. The TAs are seldom standing at the front of the room talking over this particular problem solving hour. Rather, what's happening is that the students come in to work in groups, and the TA will walk around and assist the groups as they're studying. You could say, well, why don't they just study in the library at home? Well, they feel assured that if they come to one of these office hours, there are going to be a bunch of other students in the class there at the same time, and as a community, they're going to be. I mentioned that the undergraduate TAs are responsible for cohorts in my class. So in a 130 or 150 person class, I might ask the undergraduate TAs to take a group of 20 or so of the students and be monitoring their responses in Quest in the learning modules or monitoring their progress on homework. The undergraduate TAs monitor these cohorts on a more or less daily basis, and as students write questions about which they're confused, I ask the undergraduate TAs to communicate directly with the students, send them email, or send an email to the block of students in their cohort, responding to some of the major confusions that the cohort as a whole seems to be expressing. Another tool I found very useful is something called Piazza. It's basically a discussion board. So I provide a link to Piazza in all my classes where students can now pose questions to each other about the homework or about lecture or what have you, and I can either respond as the instructor or the TAs can, or even better, other students in the course can see those questions and respond to them. Piazza has the advantage of supporting the LaTeX typesetter, so that if one is familiar with that package and wants to type something in mathematical form, that can be done quite easily. Many of our students know LaTeX, of course many don't, and it's not mandatory that you do. You can type out responses in ordinary text. But it's very nice to see when the students start responding to each other. Another tool that some faculty are using is something called Adobe Connect. You can think of it like Skype online chatting, except it allows one instructor to interact with a number of remote users. And so, in fact, there are a number of TAs who are using this for office hours, where they might be sitting at their kitchen table and their students are all across the city, but all dialing in on Adobe Connect to have these office hours. I don't know that it's superior to in-person hours, but it does extend the flexibility of scheduling if your TAs want to be able to offer something on Sunday evening and it's not possible for them to get to campus. So it's an alternative, it's a supplement, and many people are making effective use of it. All these tools, however, are to reinforce the notion that we often talk about in our classes, and that is that it's important for students to work together. It's important for them to establish a community within their classes, and it's important for them to seek help and challenge one another in solving homework problems, because it's seldom the case that students can work it all out on their own. Even when they can, it's far better for their own progress if they're working in groups, because they will make themselves stronger by virtue of working with other students. So as creative as we can be about creating these kinds of collaborations tools, I try to see more of my classes do more and more of this.